Shadow the Hedgehog is allegedly ageless and immortal. Being ageless is quite self-explanatory, he does not age, he is unaffected by time. But what does it mean to be immortal? No physical object in the universe we know of is truly indestructible. So the idea that a physical being would be able to attain immortality seems impossible from a scientific standpoint. But I think we can get pretty close. Shadow was created by Eggman's grandfather, Gerald Robotnik, in an attempt to create the ultimate lifeform. This means that his genetic code is custom-made and does not carry the genetic baggage that organisms created through evolution have. Now this makes it a lot easier for us, as we do not have to search through billions of years of evolution to try to make sense of this immortality. We just have to find the genetic code Gerald used to create Shadow. Before we dig into the science behind Shadow's agelessness, we have to figure out why we age in the first place. Aging is actually a surprisingly complex and among scientists much debated phenomenon, and it is not easy to pinpoint the exact process. Instead, scientists have started to characterize the aging process through hallmarks of aging. We're not going to go through all possible contributing factors, as some are quite human-centered, some are still uncertain, and some are related to diseases that would not apply to Shadow. But one generally agreed upon major cause of aging that applies to more or less all biological life forms is genomic instability. And genomic instability occurs due to damage to an organism's genetic material. Our DNA gets damaged all the time. Short term, this is not a problem, as we have efficient DNA repair mechanisms in place, although these repair mechanisms are not perfect, and sometimes small errors occur. Again, short term, this is not a problem, but over time, these errors accumulate, and at a certain point, our genetic material is degraded to the point where cells cannot divide properly, increasing the risk of cancerous diseases, and possibly to a point where the cells are not able to divide at all. In order to become ageless, this is a problem that needs to be solved. This is a Hydra. The Hydra solved this problem. Let's talk about stem cells. Many cells lose their ability to divide once they reach their final state. Such is the case for many of the cells that make up our vital organs. So in order to repair damaged organs, the body relies on stem cells. These are cells with the ability to change into different cell types depending on their assignment. But due to genomic instability that we discussed earlier, the stem cells in the human body will eventually not be able to divide due to accumulated DNA damage. The Hydra, on the other hand, does not have this problem. They have stem cells in a perpetual state of renewal. Their stem cells never go bad. The Hydra is, in scientific terms, biologically immortal. So in order for Shadow to be ageless, it's safe to assume that he needs to have perpetually renewable stem cells. So how is this achieved? Scientists have been able to find a connection between this perpetual renewal of stem cells and the fork-head box O, or FOXO gene. An active FOXO gene is necessary for this stem cell renewal. Now, since Shadow is created by Gerald Robotnik, Gerald would have had the ability to incorporate an active FOXO gene into Shadow's genetic code. Now, when we talk about immortality in colloquial terms, we tend to mean more than just not aging. Again, no physical object we know of is completely indestructible, but let's take a look at just how indestructible the Hydra is. If a Hydra loses one of its limbs, it will grow back. If a Hydra is split in the middle, each part will grow into a completely new Hydra. In fact, if a Hydra is divided into all its individual cells, thrown in a bucket and mixed around, the resulting puddle of cells will grow back into a Hydra. But we can do better yet. The Hydra might seem to come as close to actual immortality as you possibly can. But when exposed to harmful environmental conditions, such as the freezing temperatures of space, the cells will die, and it has no mechanism to prevent it. But there is one animal that has a plan for that as well. This is the Turritopsis dohrnii. A small jellyfish that cheats death in the possibly most remarkable way we've seen. When this jellyfish is mortally wounded or is exposed to conditions that it cannot survive, such as rapid temperature variations, it literally resets its life. The Turritopsis dohrnii begins its life as a larva hatching from a fertilized egg. This larva eventually settles on the ocean surface and grows into a polyp. From this polyp, a jellyfish grows and is eventually released. Once it reaches adulthood, a male and a female can reproduce and the cycle restarts. Quite a complicated cycle compared to mammals, but nothing particularly strange so far. But, as the jellyfish is about to die, whether it's from blunt damage or due to hazardous environmental conditions, certain cells clump together to form a ball-like cyst. This cyst then grows into a new polyp that eventually grows into a new jellyfish. The same jellyfish. So, let's say that Shadow, in addition to having the Hydra's FOXO genes, making him ageless, also has the Turritopsis dohrnii's ability to rebirth itself in case of imminent death. It would not make him completely indestructible, but it would give him the ability to face fatal conditions by allowing essential stem cells to go into a protective state, as the rest of the body is beyond saving. This group of cells would then allow Shadow to quite literally be born again. Now, since he would be regenerated with only his genetic code as a blueprint, he would be identical to when he was first created. Any scars or bruises would be gone, and he would have no memory of his past life. Almost as if he had amnesia.
You can't remember anything, can you?